We are cooking up a skillet full of comfort tonight. From the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club and our Paleo family. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you are new here, I'm super happy to have you. If you are old here, then welcome back. I'm super happy to have you as well. Tonight I've got all kinds of things going on. Look here, got the Instant Pot and we have the skillet. What we're making tonight is, I'm calling it Hillbilly Casserole, and that's because I have to give credit to the Hillbilly Kitchen, which is another YouTube channel. And I think she just called this like beef and potato casserole. I can't get this package open. But in my nod to her, I'm calling it Hillbilly Casserole or Hillbilly Comfort Casserole. And I am making this recipe because, or this recipe for me, my version came about one night when my husband and I were planning to get takeout. It's our routine to go out to dinner on Sunday nights when our kids have their church youth group. And we're, living the quarantine life just like the rest of you. We were going to go out for burgers, and I was in the mood for burgers and fries. There's a place here that has really good gluten-free. They have a dedicated fryer, and they have a gluten-free bun, where sometimes we get that, sometimes we don't. But their fries are yummy, and they have these really good sauces. It's called Burger 21. And they had takeout, so we were just going to go and get takeout. And it came time to go out, and I was feeling nervous about it. I wanted to support the local restaurants because I want them to survive. But I didn't want to go out, but I still wanted that comfort food, burger and fries. So I had just watched this video from the Hillbilly Kitchen with her hamburger casserole, and I think it was ground beef, potatoes, onions, and she used flour, and then she used milk. So flour to thicken, and then milk for like the gravy part. And so I thought, I am going to make that. That sounds so good to me. We're going to make it paleo style, and so that's what we're going to do. So I've made this multiple times because my family loves it. Everybody loves it. And so let me tell you what I'm doing, why I have both things out here. So here's some salt and pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle that in. We mixed it together when I was teaching my son how to make burgers so that he wouldn't have to keep sticking his hands in the salt. I made his own little container of salt and pepper, and he just made way more than what he needed for those burgers, so I've been continuing to use it when I'm going to cook something because he put his little raw hamburger fingers in there. I'm going to use my Instant Pot to cook my potatoes because this recipe, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put my onion in because I have it chopped and I want my cutting board. So I would be, I'm just going to turn that down for a second. Just loading everything up in here. Is hamburger and onion are kind of the must-haves, and then any other vegetables you like. I have really liked it with mushrooms and bell peppers, and have also really enjoyed it with carrots and celery. And I've just tried different combinations of vegetables based on what I've had. I'm filming this on April 21st. The video is going to go up a couple weeks later. But I first came upon this recipe while we were already in this quarantine life. So I understand, and I kind of developed my version of this recipe living under these conditions of you may not have all the vegetables that you normally would have, okay? So we want to get some good nutrition in there and some good flavor. So you brown the beef, you put your vegetables in, you peel and you dice your potatoes, add your thickener, add your liquid, put your lid on, let it cook. You can let it simmer on the stove top, or you can let it simmer on the stovetop for a little bit and then put it in the oven. You can put it in the oven for the whole time. But no matter how you do that, it takes about an hour for the potatoes to cook. Now, if I am just boiling potatoes on the stove to make mashed potatoes or something, it does not take an hour for them to cook. So well, part of the time is the browning time, and then part of the time is the, the cooking, getting the potatoes cooked. Once you get the brown, everything browned and add your potatoes, it's a good 30 minutes more of cook time. So you've got about a total of an hour, and I sometimes love that. For example, my son's tennis practice, when he has it, is from 5 to 6:30 at night. It's like, that's right when I cook dinner and when we eat dinner. So this dish, I can adapt to that by dropping him off at tennis. I get home about 5:30 and then get this all ready. It'll take me about 30 minutes to get it ready. So now it's 6 o'clock, right? Put it in the oven. And by the time I get over across town, it's going to be nice when he can drive, and pick him up. It's about 7 by the time we get home. So this thing has cooked in the oven and it's all ready. So sometimes that slow cook time is just what I need. It works to my advantage. And other times, like today, when we don't have anywhere to go other than to take a walk after dinner. Actually, there's that meteor shower tonight, the Lyrid, I think I'm saying that right, meteor shower, and I think we're supposed to have clear skies, so we're planning to go out and see that tonight, but that's much later after it's totally dark, obviously. But nobody has Boy Scouts, nobody has basketball practice, soccer practice, tennis practice, nobody has any of that stuff. So we're just ready to eat dinner. So I'm gonna make my potatoes in the Instant Pot. So in my pot, I can show you, I have put just enough water to cover the bottom. I have my trivet in there, and then I have my mom's 1960s steamer basket. I have on order actually an Instant Pot designed steamer basket, a new one that has a handle and looks super nice. But that's not an essential item, and so that is not going to get to me until I think late May is what it said, which is totally fine. They need to be shipping out the essential stuff like toilet paper, right? I'm kind of kidding. If they get hand sanitizer and cleaners and that kind of stuff, that needs to go out. So, anywho, I'm not complaining about not getting my stuff from Amazon. I think they're doing a great job. All those drivers are doing an amazing job. I'm glad they have jobs. Glad they're willing to do their job, wearing masks and gloves, everything else. Normally, I would have that still cooking. I've just turned it way down to low because it was really loud. I felt like I was having to yell. But now that I have those ready, I'm going to crank that back up. And these potatoes are just going to cook for 5 minutes. And they'll be, it kind of depends on the size that I'm cutting them. I'm doing like about a 1/2 inch dice. And there you have like the end of that one and the end of that one. They are not the same size. And that's totally fine. They're going to be fine. Okay, so let me lock this lid in place. Set that to ceiling. Get us on manual for 5 minutes. And I'll quick release that pressure. And hopefully all of this stuff will be ready to receive the potatoes by the time those potatoes are done. So, we do paleo cooking around here, which is why my channel used to be called Our Paleo Family. That's why I still introduce it that way. It's how a lot of you came to know me. We still are a paleo family for the most part. Now we're Autoimmune Free Cooking Club, which is a membership for people who are managing their autoimmune disease with functional medicine, diet and lifestyle, which is going to be a paleo diet or paleo type diet. So we're cooking anti-inflammatory. So I've got grass-fed ground beef. I have organic for the Dirty Dozen vegetables, which celery and carrots both are, and onions. So we're trying to reduce our toxin exposure We're trying to add a lot of great phytonutrients, which just means nutrition from plants when we can. That's the part about all of this coronavirus stuff that has been the hardest on me. And my husband hasn't lost his job. I still have my job working from home as a health coach. And I know a lot of people have been really, really severely affected. So, I mean, I don't say this lightly. But I'm used to going to the grocery store every week. And every week, it's so funny, I'll say to my husband as he's helping me unload the groceries, I'm like, I know the fridge is really full. It looks really full. Especially after Sunday. We go to Aldi after church on Sundays because it's right by our church. And we get mostly our produce there. And the fridge, we have a fridge in our garage, and it will just be packed. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. I know this looks like an excessive amount of food. And every week we eat it all. I mean, I have 2 growing teenagers. They are both growing at a high rate of speed right now, and they're eating a ton. I got this out because I wanted to use some of this. This is my Cajun seasoning blend. This recipe is on my website. It's onion and garlic and a little cayenne, maybe celery, salt, I can't remember, salt, regular black pepper. My whole family loves the flavor of it, so I was going to add a little bit of that for seasoning. So anyway, we go through a ton of fresh produce every week, and so that's one thing, going to the store every 2 to 3 weeks, you can only buy so much fresh produce because it doesn't last that long. And we have some frozen, we have some canned. Of course, nobody wants to grab a can of peaches when they want a snack, they want a fresh apple, which I don't blame them. This is new territory. They've never had to not have a fresh apple when they wanted that for a snack, which again, I realize that means we're extremely blessed. I'm very thankful. So anyway, we don't have a ton of fresh produce right now. So thinking about how are we getting as many vegetables, phytonutrients as we can, it's just been a little challenging. So a lot of my dishes are getting carrots and celery right now because they hold for a long time. Carrots, celery, onions, cauliflower, broccoli. I planted my garden last weekend, which I did a garden tour, a little garden tutorial video. If you're interested, go check that one out. It was just a couple weeks before this one. So, of course, it's way too early to have anything coming out of there except spinach. I normally don't plant spinach because it doesn't grow very long into the season here. It's a cool season crop. But they had it, the plants looked good, and I thought, if we only get a month of spinach out of this, that will be great. That might get us through the worst of this coronavirus stuff. So anyway, I have 4 little plants of spinach, and they're doing great. I haven't picked any yet. I really want them to get established before I pick any of their little leaves off. So my garden isn't doing anything for me right now. I feel like I'm really rambling. Talking about vegetables. You want to get some? Eat vegetables. Eat plants. Eat plants if you can. But we're very much living in the days of making do, We've got to make do. Most of us don't have available what we are used to having available, whether that means we just couldn't get to the store, our store didn't have it, we've lost our job, we can't afford it, eating ramen and oatmeal, and you know what, that's okay. That's just, it's a time. It's not going to be forever. But a dish like this is going to taste really good. It's going to be very satisfying, very nutritious. Ground beef is very good for you, especially if you can find grass-fed or at least organic. We've got protein, fat, carbs in this, the whole shebang. Very filling, great. If you have teenagers, hungry people in your house, maybe your college kids are home and they're not usually home. You're not used to feeding your college kids anymore. This is a good dish for them. I have water on here because I had on my clean veggies, so I'm going to dump that off. Actually, I really do not need this huge sheet pan, but I have it out, so I'm going to use it. This cauliflower, I'd forgotten that I had a head of cauliflower in the fridge, and I used half of it last night. We did chicken pot pie live on this channel. And I put half of the head of cauliflower in that, and it was actually really good. It kind of just melted down into the pot pie filling. This is not a good thing that I'm doing here, but cauliflower makes such a mess. You know, when you cut it, it just flies everywhere. So I'm just trying to contain it and keep as much of it as I can. You just want to cut big florets or kind of slices, however you want to do that. Just try to keep it somewhat uniform so they cook in the same amount of time. So I put half of this head of cauliflower in that pot pie, and it was really good. Actually, I would do that again in a heartbeat because I didn't have mushrooms. And so I had the other half of the head. It really needs to be used. So I'm going to prepare it my very favorite way to have cauliflower. If you do not like cauliflower, I already put oil in there, didn't I? If you don't like cauliflower, or somebody in your house doesn't like cauliflower, roast it. For anywhere from 400 to 450. I think I set my oven for 425. Just cut your cauliflower. I tend to cut it kind of big so it, by the time it's soft, it's just starting to get kind of brown, crispy. A little oil, that was avocado oil. You could also use a light olive oil, salt and pepper. Just lay it so there's a flat side down. It'll really get brown and yummy on that side. And then we'll flip it about halfway through. It takes about 20 minutes. And it's super tasty. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so we're going to talk finishing this dish for a minute. So, you know, my original intention, like I told you, was that I was making like a hamburger and french fries. So I was originally thinking I would top this with ketchup and mustard, which I have something on my website called hamburger hash. It's very much like this. And then at the end I just stir in ketchup and mustard, and it just is like a hamburger without the bun. It's delicious. It didn't have the potatoes in it. It was just the meat and vegetables. But super yummy. But this, I'm going to kick up a notch. So, I was craving a hamburger and french fries, and in the South, you can often get, as a topping for your hamburger, pimento cheese, which is usually sharp cheddar combined with, another type of cheese or two. I have a little bit of cream cheese in here because I had it, so I thought, I'll do that. I've never put cream cheese in my pimento cheese before. But it's cheese and then mayonnaise and some flavorings. Usually pimentos, which are like a jarred pepper. Sometimes the jarred pimentos have sugar and, coloring, different things in them. And we really don't want any of that kind of stuff. So I am just making my own pimento cheese. I think maybe I needed a bigger bowl. So this cheese that I have, the last time I went to the store, it was limited. I wasn't at Whole Foods or Aldi. I was just at like a regular grocery store, and they don't have any grass-fed dairy there. So this is Cabot, which is always my grocery store choice for cheese, because my husband and I, the first year we were married, we travel a lot, and we took this tour of the north of New England. I've never been to that part of the country. I'm just going to get a bigger bowl so I don't drive myself crazy. And I mean, this was like, I remember on my lunch breaks from work, I would work on planning this trip, and at that time, so it would have been 2002, maybe it was the fall of 2003, we got married in 2002, that some of the places we stayed in, bed and breakfast all across New England, some places had websites, and those that did, it was just like, here's your address and here's your phone number. You still had to call. Some of them had pictures of their rooms, but you still had to call to make reservations, or you could send an email. It was like the dark ages, But anyway, on that trip, we went to Cabot Creameries, which I think was in Vermont. I'm pretty sure it was in Vermont. And we took a tour of it, and it was just so fun. And so that's just a great memory that I have. The cheese was good, and it's one of those, like a farmer co-op, lots of different farms own Cabot and provide their milk from their dairy farms to make the Cabot cheese, and it was a great fun place to visit and have great memories of it. So it is not grass fed, however, it's good memory cheese. So this is an 8 ounce, and we had already eaten a little bit of it, so it's probably 7 ounces. So I did a what I eat in a day video not that long ago, and it'll be maybe a month before this one. And in it, we were having this for dinner, and so I didn't show you step by step, but I didn't do the Instant Pot version, but I was making this hillbilly casserole, and I also made pimento cheese, and I shredded my cheese in my little food processor for some reason. I don't know why I did that. You really shouldn't, because the shredding, you get a better texture when it's shredded. The food processor, if you just use the little chopper like I had, it's just going to chop it, and that's not going to give you the texture that you want. So this meat is all cooked, totally cooked. I'm going to try to get a little browning on it. And I actually need to taste it for seasoning because I didn't measure. It's supposed to have a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper. The potatoes, potatoes take a lot of seasoning. Let me just sit that there. All right, so we have cheese, cream cheese, cheddar cheese. I'm gonna need several spoons. Mayonnaise. So just a spoonful, and then you're going to have to taste it. So instead of pimentos, I have my home canned jalapenos from last summer. I have some zucchini relish from my garden from 2015, but canned is canned, and if you canned it well and it seals, it should last forever. There's coconut aminos. What's more traditional is Worcestershire sauce, which I have some, actually, that has really clean ingredients. I think it's Whole Foods brand. So I could have used that, but I just grabbed the coconut aminos. And then you just mix it up and then taste it. I have some Frank's Red Hot sauce out, and I might have put a little too many jalapenos in, so I want to make sure it's not too spicy. My children don't know that it's pimento cheese that tops this. They love it, and they can taste the jalapenos, which they like, but they do not know it's pimento cheese. If I told them it was pimento cheese, they would say, ooh, yuck. It's really good. It's actually really good. I am going to put in a little Frank's. This is my son's camping hot sauce. That carrot is not done. So what I would do is, when I get everything else ready in my pan, I'll top it with my pimento cheese, put it under the broiler, and put that in the oven to just melt and kind of get brown and bubbly. And we'll get all this stuff back in the fridge, and then we'll keep working on that. Okay, so this tasted good. What I noticed was that the carrot was really hard. The carrot really needed to cook. I should have cut those a little bit smaller. I didn't think about that. Or I could have left them larger and put them in the Instant Pot with my potatoes. Either way would have been fine. It's going to be fine if they're a little bit crunchy, but I do want them a little softer. Just be easier for everybody to eat. Okay, so that is starting to brown. I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to sprinkle on 2 tablespoons of arrowroot. That's just going to help thicken it, make sort of like a gravy. So I think I had 5 potatoes I put in there, and normally I would use 4, but then I would just have 1 potato left. What am I going to do with 1 potato? So I just went ahead and cooked all 5, and so I may not be able to fit them all in my pan. And if not, I'll just save some. And one of my hungry children who wants to eat all the time can make themselves some mashed potatoes or something. So you want 2 cups of liquid. If I had some beef broth or even some good homemade chicken broth laying around, I would use that. I happen to have this unsweetened almond milk. I'm going to use almond milk. That's going to make it extra creamy. Hillbilly Kitchen used milk, just regular milk. So I'm just going to add a little bit at a time and let it, stir in. I know I told you I was going to quick release the potatoes. I'm still going to. I just want to get this to a place of simmering down a little bit. It's loud. We've reached that time of year here in North Carolina where one day we turn the heat on and the next day we turn the air conditioning on. We try really hard not to do that. It's like, okay, we can just stand it to be a little bit cold for a little while. And then, oh, we can just stand it to be a little bit hot. No, we can't. I can't stand it to be hot. I can take the cold. I can put layers on. I can't take the hot. It didn't get that hot today, but a lot of sun came in. The clouds burnt off and the sun came out, and it got hot in here. And I'm cooking up a storm. I've got my oven on 425. So Mama had to turn the air conditioning on. So you see how this is getting lovely and thick and creamy. Now Hillbilly Kitchen said you want to have enough liquid in there that you can sort of submerge your potatoes in the liquid, because she was cooking her potatoes in the liquid, right? So when I have made this, I've added anywhere from 2 to 3 cups of liquid. Just kind of depends on the exact amount of potatoes you have. That's one thing that's nice about this kind of recipe. It doesn't have to be super, super persnickety, Okay, we'll release that pressure. Drink some coffee. A little bit late in the day for coffee, but it was a busy day. My kids are doing online classes, so we homeschool, but I've said this before. They're probably tired of hearing me say it. We participate in this group called Classical Conversations. So they go to class once a week, and so this has been their class day. And they've been doing it online, and it's the end of their year, and so they have a lot of presentations today. So I was like on and off of their presentations and have my own Bible study online today and trying to do other work, and whew, the day got away from me, and I hadn't had my coffee yet. But we're going to stay up late tonight and hopefully see the meteor shower, so it'll work out okay. I definitely need some more salt. I don't want to add this combo because it's too much pepper. And no, I'm actually out of salt. That's the end of my salt right there. I have my Himalayan salt shaker. That's my regular fine sea salt. So that's on my list for Costco when I go next time. This Himalayan salt is great. It has great flavor, and I actually have plenty of it. However, it's not really great for seasoning your dish right from the start. Well, I feel like it just takes a lot of it. It's really good to finish. It has a really nice flavor. So when I sit down to the table, if I put salt on my food, which I usually do, that's the salt that I use. Okay, I need some other things. Alright, so that's simmering away. That's just what we want. Remember, we're going to add our already cooked potatoes to it. So I'm just going to use my towel to grab a hold of this so I can reach it. And then reach in here. I'll move this out of the way so you can see. Now when your potato's done, your knife should just go in real easily, no resistance. Some people say your knife has to slip back out, but it really doesn't because it's starchy, you know, it may hang on to your knife. So it doesn't have to slip back off. But those are all cooked. Let's see if I can manage to add about half of those. 2/3, 3/4 maybe. Don't anybody check me on my fractions. So those are perfectly cooked. And so at this point, we just have to get it seasoned properly. So I'm going to stir those potatoes in. And then I'll be able to taste the whole mixture with the potatoes and see if it needs more salt. I've really added maybe a half a teaspoon of salt, and my recipe calls for a full teaspoon, so I suspect I'm going to need a little bit more. You see all the steam? That's why I had to turn the air conditioning on. And it's delicious, just like that. So if you're not doing dairy, no problem. It's really, really yummy, just like that. Let's see if I can get a smaller potato, just to taste for seasoning. If you are doing dairy and you want to put some cheese on, great. You can use any kind of cheese you like. You could really make this like hamburger night, and you could use American cheese, which is never my first choice, but I know it tastes really great. It has that just yummy classic flavor. So I'm a realist too, okay? You put some cheese on top, and then everybody gets their serving, and they can top it with pickles, ketchup, mustard, relish. You can have some fresh diced onions, whatever you like to put on your burger, and it would be super, super good, especially if you did a real simple version like this with just carrots and celery and onions. But you know, we love bell peppers and mushrooms and that kind of stuff on our burgers too. So I would say no matter what vegetables you have in there, you could absolutely just call it burger night and top it with ketchup and mustard. Giving your kids a casserole that they can put ketchup on, they would probably think that that was pretty cool. I can fit these potatoes in. You know what? I think I will, because if I don't, then there's a chance that they'll just sit there. Somebody will say, "Oh yeah, that's great. I'm gonna eat those," and then they won't. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in. Let me add just a teeny bit more milk, just to have a little bit more liquid in there. I really wish I had some broth. Broth just has so much flavor. It brings so much nutrition. But I don't want to open a carton from the freezer or from the pantry. So I'll just add a little bit of that. I am going to taste this down here for seasoning. Now it's good. It needs more salt. It's really good. So I'm gonna stir this in. I'm gonna put some pimento cheese on top, and I'm gonna put it in the oven. My cauliflower's in there roasting, so I'm just gonna put this in there with it. If I didn't have anything in the oven, I would just turn on my broiler, and it would just take a couple minutes for my cheese to melt. But this will be totally fine. Let's see. There we go. Off. That is for me to turn my cauliflower, so let me check that. Okay, look. That's exactly what you want. So good. All right. I didn't forget about you, Hillbilly Casserole. So just kind of dab this on. So if you had just regular cheese and you would just shred it and sprinkle it across. Or if you had American, you would just lay the slices across. You don't have to use all of this, but you can use all of it. I'm not going to tell anybody. I might leave just enough for me to snack on with some crackers or extra carrot sticks or something while this cooks. Alright, so this goes in the oven until it's done. It'll be like 5 minutes. Alrighty, yum, yum, yum. It is out of the oven. Can you see how delicious this is? this nice like thick gravy. And then we have our cheese has melted and has browned a little bit. So we'll serve some of this up. And when you take that first scoop out, then the neighboring little puddle of pimento cheese just sort of dips down. And you know what? That is going to be so good. It's like a sauce on our roasted cauliflower. Promise me, if you have never made roasted cauliflower, that you will try it. It's so good. My children, I think, would prefer lettuce. I'm going to give them that option tonight. But my husband and I are going to have this. A big plate of hillbilly casserole and a nice pile of roasted cauliflower. So I hope you enjoy this one, everybody. You can make it slow and steady on the stovetop from start to finish. You can start on the stovetop, get everything brown, and then get it in the oven. You'd want to put a lid on it. If you're cooking your potatoes in your mixture, not in the Instant Pot separately, or you could just boil them on the stove separately, that would be faster, sort of a shortcut. You'll need to put a lid on your pan for your potatoes to cook. But we browned everything up. We cooked our potatoes in the Instant Pot. We mixed it together, put the cheese on top, stuck it under the oven to broil. You could top this with ketchup and mustard and have it taste like a hamburger. You can have it just like this. It has tons of great flavor from the onions, the carrots, the celery. I used a little of my Cajun seasoning in it just for fun. Made a quick pimento cheese. And now I'm hungry and I'm going to go sit outside because it's cool and it's hot in here. And I'm going to enjoy my dinner. I hope you're doing well. And I will look forward to being in the kitchen with you again next time. Thanks so much, everybody.